Hello and welcome to Prime Business with me, Pius Kojo Baka. In our very first story, businesses are being urged to plan ahead in case of a potential disruption of power supply following the planned maintenance work on the Ghana Gas processing plant and offshore gas export facilities. Now, Ghana Gas had announced a planned maintenance of its processing plants and offshore export facilities beginning from today to the next 16 days. According to Ghana Gas, this is needed to enhance the plant's operational efficiency and uninterrupted gas supply. However, during this shutdown period, lean gas from the Sankofa OCTP field will be available for delivery at the Takoradi distribution station. But energy expert Loom Alhaji tells Joy Business businesses need to plan ahead regardless in case of any eventualities.
There is reserve or there's capacity for heavy fuel oil available in country, then it means that it's about how to operationalize or put it, let's say, coordinate among the various stakeholders to ensure that at any point in time there's adequate supply, either from the Sankofa OCTP plant, or if there's a need to rely on heavy fuel oil or other sources. Because I believe that even though the travel gas plant will be shut down for this 17 days, we can also continue to expect some gas from Nigeria unless otherwise stated. So for now, businesses should be obviously planning. They should be planning because, as you know, anything can happen. So they should have plans in case there's disruption in power along the line, which means that those who have to look at their generating plants and making sure that they have fuel reserves to power those plants in the event that there is no power supply. And also, obviously, the renewable energy sources, it looks like the continuous need to emphasize investments in renewable energy like solar and so on, so that people can have alternatives to cushion them in times like this. Because as I've said, the maintenance is something that we cannot do without. It is absolutely essential to ensure that the machines and the equipment that are used to produce, the final product that is used by these power plants are, ready to be used. Exactly.
Away from energy-related stories, a report from Parliament indicates that the cost of financial sector cleanup could rise to 34 billion cedis. This comes after Parliament recommended that government settle 61,000 customers of the Gold Fund Mgt following the petition to Parliament. Now, following this recommendation, government is expected to cough up 9 billion cedis to settle these customers. These adds up to the 25 billion cedis already spent on the cleanup exercise. That's according to former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. Now, more on this shortly. First, though, we'll take a listen to the chairman of the special committee set up to look into the demands of these customers, Govt.
Mr. Speaker, even though we are not able to grant their specific prayers, your committee recommends on page 45 that government should make good on these indications, which is said by the fact it's stated in the budget that it will make some payment to them. Government should make good these indications and make payments that will bring relief to the investors. In making payments to the investors, whilst the court cases are still pending, the interest of the investors in their respective investments should be assigned to government to the extent of the payments made by them. Mr. Speaker, we urge government to do its part in terms of prosecuting the matter of it, following the matter in court, so that the question of whether they should be liquidated or not will come to an end, and so further payments can be made. So we also made further recommendations, because this money that we are asking that government pays, the taxpayers' money. So we are of the firm opinion that the taxpayers should be protected. And in protecting the taxpayer, Mr. Speaker, we took refuge in the legal principle of subrogation. It's a principle used by insurance companies. When they pay for you, they step into your shoes. So when government pays the people, it should step into the shoes of the customers of Black Shoes. So the customers of Black Shoes cannot turn around again and claim from Black Shoes. They cannot turn around again and claim for Black Shoes. They cannot, as it were, have their cake and eat.
The committee is now recommending that insurance be included in all these financial decisions to ensure the cost of collapse of these institutions does not become a burden on the government.
Mr. Speaker, the last recommendation we made was that we must include insurance in all such transactions. we recognize the fact that this House passed the Ghana Deposit Protection Act 2016 at 931. And it was passed to protect depositors of small deposits. We cannot continue at this rate where people set up financial institutions and then they collapse, and then the last resort is government. Government cannot continue being a guarantor of every made between a financial institution and the people of Ghana. And so therefore, one way to go around this is for us to insist that when you are making such investments, you take an insurance. The argument has been made by some that may make the investment expensive. So if you got like a car insurance, you can decide to take a simple third-party insurance or a comprehensive insurance. But this business of government, because government is a taxpayer, paying for people's sins cannot continue ad infinitum.
Away from Parliament and its related financial sector cleanup, the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry has expressed worry businesses are not expanding due to the high interest rates being quoted by banks. According to the Chamber, the development has greatly impacted on the growth and sustenance of firms. The Chamber is of the view that it's about time the Bank of Ghana intervenes by stimulating the private sector by reducing the lending rate further to propel growth. Mark Bedwa-Waji is the CEO of the Chamber.
From 2022, inflation was as high as 54%. The policy rate was 29.5. Now, inflation is, I think, 22%, and you are still keeping the policy rate at 29%. We've also seen some stability within the foreign exchange market, which means that there is no risk in that sense, although there's possibility of also going back. But once we have had all these key indicators trending in the right direction, inflation coming down, and then stability in the foreign exchange, we would have expected that the central bank would at least send a signal to the business community that it's time for you to help in the recovery process. Because businesses are not borrowing because interest rates are high. At the moment you want to go and borrow, the data from Bank of Ghana, the least you can get is 31.5. It can go as high as 47%. I don't expect any business to be able to make profit under this high interest rate. So what they are doing is that probably they are not investing, they are not expanding. That is the reason why a lot of people are also not getting jobs, because the business will expand and then employ people. So it's about time that they bring in the private sector. And what they can do is to stimulate us in terms of reducing the interest rate, and that will also bring the private sector on board in helping with the recovery. Monetary policy, fiscal policy, they are all good, but you also need the real sector, which is the private sector, to use these policies to drive the economy. I don't see anything changing from now until the end of the year. From the budget, I realized that it's just a normal thing that we had. We are not happy with the tax system anyway, but I think that it was also an opportunity to set the foundation for a proper recovery in 2025. We missed that opportunity. And I think that we should take up that issue in 2025 if we really want to move our economy forward.
More about our businesses, because the Chief Executive for Gold Compliance Solutions, James Kwesi Ofori, has emphasized the need for support to small businesses to scale up and become global giants. According to him, this is important since many young entrepreneurs lack the knowledge to enhance their growth. James Kwesi Ofori made a call in an interview with Joy Business after engaging some SMEs and startups in a career and guidance fair organized in partnership with the Corango Group. Here's a report.
Ghana's small and medium enterprises seems to be facing challenges due to lack of support and required skills to drive growth for their operations. This challenge has compelled many to fold up or downsize and thereby affecting employment ratios across the country. According to Chief Executive for Gold Compliance Solutions, Lion James Ofori, small businesses need training platforms to be able to learn from best practices to increase productivity. He spoke to Joy Business after engaging some SMEs and students of the Heritage Christian University College.
Is to bring together businesses, and then we advise them on how to ensure competency in their various fields, and also some of the trainings that we have, the safety trainings that we have, we share it to them, we share the idea to them for them to, those that want to progress their career, to take their career to the next level, and then those that are currently not doing anything, and then the currently unemployed, so that they can take advantage of some of these courses, whilst we guide them get jobs for themselves. So basically, that is why we are organizing this seminar.
As partners for the event, Chief Executive for the Conrad Kakraba believes that such platforms will help to support students and small businesses in making policy decisions.
To partner in order to have this career and business development seminar, because we know very well that the world is changing and we are introducing all the dynamics to the students and also business leaders and startups so that we can actually understand how businesses function, what are the safety measures and standards and competencies that are required, and then also the attitudes that are very important for them to be able to succeed. Because if you do not prepare, if you do not position yourself strategically, opportunities will pass you by, and then you will not also be able to network very well and meet with people who will give you the necessary opportunities and business strategies that would make you very successful in your field of work. And that's how come we have decided to organize today's program.
The program seeks to provide an open platform for SME owners and students to engage entrepreneurs to benefit from new skills.
For business news, the African Development Bank projects Africa's green metal reserves value to hit $57 trillion by 2060. According to the president of the African Development Bank, Akinwumi Adesina, the establishment of a green metal value chain in Africa will provide enormous wealth for the continent's sustainable financing development. He shared this insight during the celebration of BDS 50th anniversary ceremony here in Accra.
We need to unlock potential for Africa's green metals and the rare minerals. Africa holds deposits of global reserves of critical minerals: cobalt 79%, manganese 44%, graphite 21%, as well as lithium and copper, that would drive the electric vehicle industry and battery energy storage system, whose value is going to reach $57 trillion by 2050. We should therefore explore opportunities for value creation in Africa through the development of green metals industrial value chains instead of the export of raw materials out of Africa. For example, the establishment of a 10,000 tons lithium-ion battery precursor factory in Africa will be 3 times cheaper than in the United States, Poland, or in China. Third is the need for us to mobilize support for green infrastructure in Africa. And as you know, the African Development Bank established what's called the Alliance for Green Infrastructure in Africa, which is $10 billion to mobilize financing for green infrastructure. And we want to say that we were delighted, Mr. President, that at the G7 summit, the G7 leaders put in $150 million in support of this. And I think this offers a great opportunity between our two regions to support this. And
more on the African continent, the president of the International Secretariat of Harakatiza Mungano, Kwame Dankwa, has emphasized the need for Africans to freely trade among themselves to boost employment and reduce poverty. According to him, this would enable Africans to access both local and foreign investments. He was speaking at the inaugural conference of the Union for Development and Freedom.
Of the International Secretariat of Harakatiza Mungano, Kwame Dankwa has emphasized the necessity for Africans to freely trade among themselves to boost employment and reduce poverty. Speaking at the inaugural conference of the Union for Development and Freedom, he urged African leaders to ease border restrictions to facilitate the free movement of goods and services, adding that such integration would create a larger market, attracting both local and foreign investment.
An integrated market in sub-Saharan Africa opens doors to unprecedented economic opportunities by allowing free movement of goods, services, capital, and people across our borders. We can significantly boost intra-African trade. An integrated market means removing trade barriers, harmonizing standards, and implementing policies that encourage cross-border trade and investment. The benefits of a union and integration are manifold. A larger market will attract investment, both foreign and local, employing the factors of economies of scale that leads to expanded production, job creation, and economic diversification.
The Chief Industrial Relations Officer of the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union of Ghana echoed Dankwa's sentiment, stating that coordinated efforts and integrated policies among African nations will foster a conducive business environment.
Why can't we fellowship together without going through roadblocks and without visas? Why can't we trade among ourselves without heavy tariffs? We ask and demand from our African leaders to tear down these physical and economic barriers. We are here to continue what our leaders of old began and were unable to bring it to reality. We are here to do our part as citizens of Africa. Leaders like our own Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, President Sekaturi, and many more are the pioneers of this noble cause we have embarked on.
Now, the Project Manager Institute, PMI, is taking another step in getting many youths from the tertiary level to consider project management practices to save the country some cost. According to the President, Frank Owusu, this is one of the surest ways to safeguard the future of the country from overspending on infrastructure projects. Frank Owusu was speaking to journalists after addressing this year's Project Management Conference in the Eastern region. Here's more.
This year's Project Management Conference was under the theme, Sustainable Project Management Futures, Crafting a Resilient and Inclusive World to create more awareness on the critical need for project management to be considered in many corporate policies. This is also to share best practices and find a lasting solution to the concerns of overpricing in many projects undertaken, especially in the public sector. President of the Project Management Institute Ghana, Frank Owusu, hinted of plans to include more youth at the tertiary levels in the work of the institute as a way of building a successful foundation for practitioners.
You realize that the youth is on the heart of PMI Ghana chapter. We want to embrace the youth. That is why we have gone ahead to sign MOUs with KNUST, with GIMPA, with the University of Cape Coast, and very soon University of Ghana will be signing an MOU. We want to embrace the youth into the project management fold so that they don't become accidental project managers like some of us did. They would rather take decisions, informed decisions, to become project managers. And with them on board, we will be able to affect the scheme of things at the national level. And that is the expectation for the chapter, that we will be influencing policy decision making at the national level.
Founder of Parl Global in South Africa, Ayenda Nyikana, is positive that Ghana's PMI has some opportunities for collaboration in other countries.
If we plan to collaborate, there's a synergy there. There's a lot of excellence that I've seen in PMI Ghana that we can take and use it in South Africa. And it's really great to be here.
Managing Director for Project Management Institute Sub-Saharan Africa, George Asameni, also hinted the importance of project management in all sectors of the economy.
Of course, project management is all about how do you get things done and get things done well. Whether you're building a bridge or planning your government strategy, you have to have good project management in place to get it executed.
The conference for this year was climaxed with an Excellence Award to some deserving member agencies and personalities of the Institute.
So watching Prime Business. Focus on your passion and not start a business with regrets. That was the advice of Professor Kwesi Ameyaw-Asabiri, former Vice-Chancellor of the University of Education, Winneba, to students of Akentena Piamenkan University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development during their visit to his farm in Tichiman. Now, the visit was part of a market survey initiative by Cosmos Innovation Center to equip students with entrepreneurial skills. Professor Ameyaw-Asabiri, now retired from academia, shared his personal experience of how focusing on entrepreneurship has brought him success, emphasizing that every business has potential no matter how small it is. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin reports.
Sabra Ameyaw. I hold a PhD in fishery science. I was one time Vice-Chancellor of University of Education, Winneba. I ran for 2 terms, from 2007 to 2015. At times, even myself, when I'm on the farm, I ask myself, am I not a failure? I mean, after all the books, after all the readings, after all the travels, I mean, why am I back at the village as if I have nothing doing and that sort of thing? That is, if you want to be on your own as academic, that is the way it is. Even if you want to establish a shop, someone comes to see a professor, I mean, in a chemical shop and that sort of thing. Why is he? You see.
Having accomplished his goals in academia, Professor Amiao Sabri opted to return to his roots in farming upon retirement, drawing on his rural upbringing to pursue a new passion.
From academia into business is something that, but again, everyone who is a billionaire, everyone who is doing so well in life is someone doing his own job. Even if you want to remain in the academia, then set up your own school. If you want to, whatever you want to do it on your own and then manage it to the best of your ability. That is it. I mean, the risks are there. The risks are there, and I quite remember talking to them. I told them that once a business tycoon, Azuma Banda, told me that, look, if you want to be on your own, never employ any relative. Employ others and get the money and give it to them, because they will collapse your business for you and insult you on top of it.
The technical lead at Akenten Appiah Menka University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development, Professor Ebenezer Ajimambedu, emphasizes that students are expected to develop innovative solutions to real-world problems.
So they visited this farm, Professor Sabria Group Farms, just to also have a feel of what is happening in there. We expect the students at the end of the day be able to come up with an idea that will improve agric and agribusiness. I mean,
Mohammed Nuruddin filed that report. Time now for Entrepreneur You.
I'll choose between a Dutch passport and a PhD. I'll choose a PhD because I know in this room 90% will choose a Dutch passport, and this belief or this saying is coming from the fact that our belief system has done an excellent job or has done an excellent work by reducing each and every one of us here to employment. Mind you, that Dutch man over there or a white man over there has purpose in his mind to be deployed rather to be employed. So I want each and every one of us here to purpose something different in our minds, far from what our education system has partly taught us to believe, that, oh, go to a tertiary, after that you find a job, into go to a tertiary and make a business out of it, in the sense that you should be able to move into a community and purpose in your mind that I won't get a job, but I'm actually going to make a business. Because in every ordinary or every Ghanaian person has purpose that, oh, if I enter into a new community, I'm going to get a job. But the white man wouldn't enter a community and say, I'm going to get a job, but he said he's going to make a business. So what is the difference between him and us? Would the Dutch man choose a Ghanaian passport over offering a PhD in his own country? No. So why can't we say that we would offer a PhD over a Dutch passport? Are we saying that we are not much to be respected as them? We earn all the equal right to be respected, to be seen that we are also people of relevance and importance, just as them. I'll stay here, and I know that people in different countries will call to my name and seek for me to come and even speak to them, and it's going to be a privilege to them. I'm not going to reduce myself to unemployment. I'll stay here and offer a PhD.
Brought to you by Africa School of Entrepreneurship and supported by GCB Bank, your bank for life.
Thanks so much for watching Prime Business. I am Pius Kojo Baka. Prime Sports is next.